it had to be so confusing to them what the resources were that the white man wanted too. Because they're like, why do you want gold? You can't eat it. You can't use it as a weapon.
Yeah.
So strange.
It is. In a lot of ways it is. Gold, as you said, it's virtually useless. It's very soft, right?
Yeah.
So you can't make it into a
what a
hammer,
strange thing to be the most valuable of all commodities.
It's really shiny.
But how bizarre that so many parts of the world had agreed upon that.
That's right. It just cross-culturally, across hundreds of years. They are the Egyptians,
Yeah.
Egyptians call gold the breath of God, The Aztec consider it God's scat. This was the excrement of the gods, that came...
So strange.
So strange, yeah. Now, it's not true, I think, that once... There's some really interesting works going on right now by historian named Benjamin Badley, who is studying in California. In the gold rush, there were Indians who said, they're going to give me a bunch of stuff for this stuff.
Of
right?
course.
And so they
adapted.
They went to work, and there were hundreds of Indians who were in the gold fields before the 49ers came.
Really?
Yeah.
That was another interesting thing about your discussion with Steve Rennell, that we think of the 49ers as the miners, but there was 48ers.
That's right.
And they were from a variety of different countries.
That's right.
Tasmania?
Yeah. Australia. Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
Wild.
All parts of Asia. Yeah. Remember the gold was discovered in the American River on January 24th, 1848. So 3 weeks into 1848, the word then began to leak out, made it to San Francisco, and slowly, Greg. This is now 1848. So it takes a long time for news to get from California to the east.
How did it primarily get there? Was it?
Well, there was traffic back and forth, but it's very slow. Overland trails, over
Right.
so forth.
Months and months.
Months and months. And when it came to the east, a lot of people said, "Oh, come on, one more rumor about the riches in the West," and so forth. So it wasn't until December 4th, 1848, when the president, James Polk, in his annual message to Congress, said, "Yep, it's true. It's true."
Wow.
They found gold out there, and there's a lot of it. A lot of it. And people are making thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars out there. But the point here is that from January 1848, when gold was discovered, to the end of 1848, nobody in the East really either knew about this, there were rumors, or believed it. So that's why we call the gold rushers 49ers, because it's the next year that they go out there in these extraordinary numbers. But the question then is, what was happening out there at the time, right? What was happening is we had the 48ers, people from Oregon, people from Australia, people from Tasmania, people from the first Chinese ever coming over, especially people from the South. Sonorans, people coming from Mexico, Peruvians, Chileans. So when the 49ers get out there, the Americans get out there, and they look around, they say, "Who are these people?" digging our gold.
Right.
So it's what I call in the book the second conquest of California. The first one, of course, in the war with Mexico, but then suddenly, this is the richest place on earth, quite literally at that time, and it's being the gold there is being mined by these people that we considered not Americans, right? So we got to get rid of them. Indians, right? The rest of them, there's this what's called the Chile War, in which Chileans are driven out of the mines. So these people are either driven out completely or they're confined to the edges, while the 49ers take over, including, of course, the Indians. This is what triggered one of the few cases in which this is clearly genocide, in which there was a concerted, formal effort to eradicate Indian peoples who are on these gold fields. The California legislature funded bond issues pay for militias to go kill Indians.
Wow.
Congress reimbursed California, the legislature, to pay for those expeditions. It was what Ben Madley, who wrote the book on this, calls a killing machine. One of the few times in American history when we could say absolutely yes, this was attempted genocide.
And it was specifically because of the commodity of gold.
Sure, of course.
Wow.
Of course. Yeah. You got to remember this was this was by far the richest gold discovery in human history up until that time. More gold was mined in California in 1 year, 1852, than had been mined across the world in the entire 18th century. 1 year,
Wow.
There's a story from the fellow who was the head of the San Francisco Mint. It was established in the mid-1850s. He said that at one time they were processing so much gold in that mint that the furnaces couldn't handle it, and they discovered, to their horror, that gold dust was being blown out of the smokestacks.
Wow.
and settling on the area around there. So they had to send out people, for like a quarter mile around the mint to sweep up the gold
and sift through it
on the roofs.
Wow.
The gilded rooftops. So
wow.
So this is a lot of gold.
That's
right?
insane.
And one result of that was that California, of course, gets this instant population. It never goes through a territorial period. It just goes straight to statehood because there's so many people, right? Well, historically, if the Indians were getting much of a protection, it came from the federal government. Well, the federal government it's not a territory, so it's a state government that's in charge there. And the state government's attitude was get rid of them.
Wow.
Get rid of them. And the population dropped from estimated 150,000 in 1848 to 1900, 16,000.
Wow.
So about 90%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the